X'éig satini takatiuhan achtu wuch in chasati gonalchish wuch in tlingit yuchatangish tu chatko anchich kichat yati dana ina ani ka ega taukitit kuaha kuak. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming. I feel good that we're together today, and I'm glad, and thank you for studying Tlingit language with me. I'm here in Anchorage on Dena'ina land, and spring has truly arrived. It's good weather, and it's pretty nice. So yeah, yugi ko Kayaaní yagi ya yagi eka Kayaaní Dísi. Today is Friday, what is it, April 28th? Almost May. So today we'll review our conversation practice, and then we'll continue our talk and representation of Southern dialects. Last week we reviewed materials that were shared with us by Weha, Jeff Lear, and we talked a lot about the Tongass dialect, and as well as a little bit about the Southern dialects, Sanya Kwan and Henya Kwan. And today we'll focus more on the Southern dialects as presented by Dzéiwsh James Crippen when he visited the class Shirley and I teach. And then for next week, we'll talk about plants. So at the end of class today, I'll pick your brains on what types of things you want to be able to say about plants in terms of how does it interest you? Are you into harvesting? Do you want to be able to talk to your children about plants? Just let me know at the end of class so you can be thinking about that. For conversation practice, as per usual, I'll say the greeting at the top, and then you all can unmute your mics, answer at any time. It's okay if you answer at the same time as each other. I can still hear you, but it's for you to practice hearing a phrase and responding just so that it becomes second nature to you. So I'll say the phrase at the top, and you all can choose one of the three options at the bottom and respond. Yngaywane, are you ready? Okay. Lichéesh satini. Okay. Suhaka Kayaaní.
Yagi kadam.
Away.
Okay. Wasayiyati.
Yake.
Was.
Wae. Kua.
Wasa.
Chatsuachtu yake gonalchish. So jumping into more on the Southern dialects, I'll share the class recording so you can actually watch Dzéiwsh presenting this in a recorded class on YouTube. And then we'll look at a portion of his slides today and look at some audio recordings that he shared. So just so everyone has a copy of this slideshow where you can access these links to make it accessible to you, I'll share it right now. And I'll put the link to these slides in the chat. You can refer to them at your convenience anytime. So these are some of the materials that Dzéiwsh put together for us. Dzéiwsh is Dísi nach city ka dziknach adi. So he's Dzéiwsh Tan and child of the Dzéiwsh James. He's a professor of linguistics at McGill University in Canada. And he's a wealth of knowledge. He's a personal language mentor to me. And this presentation he put together was the most comprehensive presentation I had seen on dialects. So last week we visited a few of his slides, looking at Tongass or Tantaquan. Now we'll focus on Southern. So Southern Tlingit is spoken in Southern Kayaaní or Southern Tlingit land. The Sanya Kwan would be the Bem Canal here in Saxman or Cape Fox, this area. And then Hainia Kwan would be Western Prince of Wales, X'éig, Tóoch, this area. So in the tones of Sanya Kwan and Hainia Kwan, you have high tones and low tones, just as you do in Northern Coastal Tlingit. And additionally, you can also have a falling long tone, where in a long vowel, it will go high tone, and then in that same vowel, fall back down to low tone. This is your long falling vowel. It's written on the bottom, and it's noted with a high tone followed by a low tone. Here's a comparison of some of the differentiation you'll have in the way tones are presented, which tones apply meaning to Tlingit words. So it's really important when you're speaking Tlingit to use the correct tone, but that tone can vary between dialects. So looking at a comparison of Southern dialects versus Northern dialects, in Northern, to say it is a woman, you have a long high ah for sha. So repeat after me, sha awa. So that's Northern high tone. And then for Southern, same thing. Repeat after me, sha awa. Yeah. So then for Northern, I get a little confused by this graph because you have Northern on the top and Southern on the bottom. So mountain would be sha, long and low. So for Northern and Southern, sha would be long and low. So repeat after me, sha awa. So here we see the difference between long and high is being woman and long and low is mountain. Where you'll see variation is in the word ka for man. And so in Northern Coastal Tlingit, as you hear it in Juneau, for it is a man, it's long and high. So repeat after me, ka awa. Okay. For Southern, the word ka for man will actually be a falling long tone. So it will go high and then come back down. And so we can practice it. Repeat after me. Ka awa. Okay. So that's where you'll see a difference in meaning applied to the tones in Southern compared to Northern. For it is a garden in Northern Tlingit, you'll hear a long high A, and for it is a garden. So repeat after me. Tai awa. In Southern, it'll be a long falling. So repeat after me. Tai awa. Yeah, okay. How do we sound for folks who are here who grew up hearing and speaking Southern dialect of Tlingit? How do we sound to you?
I mean, sounds good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
It's fun for me to practice because I've never practiced speaking Southern dialects, but when I listen to the recordings, I can hear the falling tone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. Goodness. Jeez.
And yeah, if anyone talks to Dzéiwsh James Crippen, be sure to thank it. These are his materials too.
Mhm.
So this is a slide he put together I really like. It's a short transcription and translation from the words of Lichéesh, Henry Denny from Saxman. So I have the recording open and I'll hit play and then I'll switch screens so we can read along Henry Denny's words. Here we go. Make sure it's gonna play. I refresh the page.
Ya tape which a cake ya machine a church a food kakotlanik. Chu an kone how the snick ya ha shagun ya san ya kwan. Ya qi ka ay at ya suti. You ga pa chu taste a.
So he's speaking quickly. I'll play it again, but before I do, did you have any questions or comments on this short excerpt?
What is the meaning of G?
Where do you see that one, Cindy?
It didn't really dawn.
Oh, G, line G, yeah, it didn't really dawn. So let's see. Ooh. Let me read the English really quick. Okay, this might be part of the longer recording that we're going to listen to after this. So I'll keep my ear open for it so that we can hear the context, because looking at it, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank-
good
thank
question.
you.
Yeah, good question though. Okay, that's a good one. All right, I'm gonna play it again.
Ya tape which a cake ya machine a church a food kakotlanik. Chu an kone how the snick ya ha shagun ya san ya kwan. Ya qi ka ay at ya suti. You ga pa chu taste a.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Are you guys able to hear the falling tones when you see these high followed by a low tone?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's okay. I can, if I read along without looking at the English, I can start to hear it, but it just takes time to be able to train our ears.
Yeah, that's a good idea though, not to read the English, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to listen both. But I have a question. Chuan, is that a common word?
Let's look it up really quick. I feel like I've heard it before, but I've never really used it. Let's see.
I say that a lot in English anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Oh, you know where I've heard it before is in a wedding vow that Rene composed for my friends. He wrote that sometimes life is tough, but anyway, we're gonna be here together. And he did put that John Kloawa is like anyway, in any case.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't see it in the dictionary, but I have heard it before.
I just looked it up yesterday, and it also is like, even though, that's what I was trying to look up. And yeah, even though anyway.
Oh, okay, let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay, so in the dictionary, it's spelled with an ACH pinched A instead of a U. Ja'an. John Ko'awa. There, however, nonetheless, yet there are two particles that create a shift in an argument. Ko'a makes more of a gradual shift in thinking, and Ja'an is more of an abrupt shift in argument. When they say argument in these linguistic descriptions, they just mean an idea, not like two people are arguing. Okay. So looking back,
Well, that's what's good to know is how to use it properly. And
yeah,
you can't just use how I use it in English and link it. So thank you. That was really helpful.
good. I'm glad. Yeah. As far as like being a gradual shift in an argument for Kwa.
And I've seen many cases now where the A changes to a U. And I'm not exactly sure why it has something to do with like the verby pronoun things.
Oh, this will be a good question when I meet with René to consult with him. He demystifies these things for me. So I'm going to add a quick note for our questions. So we would do Ja'an versus Ja'an. To use A-U-R-O. U-A. Okay. Okay. These are good questions. So looking at Dzéiwsh materials, a couple of things he added for Tlingit dialects, Northern, Southern, and Tongass. This is a comparison you can see for the words Sha, Tai, and Ka, just how they'll, and Sha, low, long and low, just how they'll be written and pronounced differently based off their meaning. So for example, for the word garden, in Northern it would be Tai, Southern Tai, and then Tongass Tai. In Tongass, as we mentioned last week, there aren't high and low tones, but what instead you'll have is movement in your larynx at the end of vowels in different ways to give them different sounds and variation, which is also really cool. So each dialect has its own system, not identical to the others. Although correspondences between each system are quite regular, all three dialects are still mutually intelligible. So that's what makes them dialects versus languages. If speakers of Tlingit can understand each other from between Tongass, Saxman, and Tóoch, then the differences in the way they speak Tlingit are dialects. They're not different languages. Sometimes when people are just starting to learn about Alaska Native languages, if you tell them, oh, we have 21 Alaska Native languages, they'll automatically go, oh, but aren't those dialects? And they just don't realize that our languages are not actually mutually intelligible. So speakers of Danaka do not understand speakers of Yupik without learning each other's languages. So different languages, and then within them we have dialects. Okay, so I wanted to continue on. We're going to listen to a recording since we got to hear Henry Denny. There's an article about this recording that Sealaska Heritage released. And I'll show you the article, and the article is called Tlingit San Yaqan Elders Bessie and Henry Denny Speak on Tlingit History, 1966. And then I'll put the recording in here too. So you have it in your slides. Before we do that, are there any more comments or questions?
Yes, real quick. So 21 Alaska Native languages, and do we know how many dialects out of those languages?
I bet Renee knows, and I bet a lot of people do who do like statewide Alaska Native language work.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my grandmother's first language, Danaka, we have 3 dialects.
Ah,
Yeah. And then I know in Inupiaq, you can have quite a few dialects. I forget how many. But yeah, that's a
so
good.
lots, in other words. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of very linguistic variation. So this is an article. I was excited to find this article because Shirley Kendall and I were listening to this recording from a different source recently, and we were really trying to find out more about it. And then when I was preparing for this class, I realized there's an article about it. So the recording was made in 1966. And what we're going to hear is Bessie Denny talking about the history of Saniaquan, so the people of Cape Fox, who comprise Neich-Adi, Kix-Adi, and the Tequedi clans. She's going to be speaking on the history, and then she'll pause and let her son, Henry Denny, interpret for her. The recording is a little bit, when they digitized it or transferred it, however it was recorded, you're going to hear some distortion. So it'll sound a little bit like we're in a spaceship some of the time, but it kind of clears up when she starts talking. So you can access the recording from the article by clicking this hyperlink. And I'll play it. He introduces for about the first 3 minutes, and then she starts talking. I'll play this for about 10 minutes and then hit pause, but I mostly just want to be able for us to hear the cadence and get some exposure to how her rhythm of speaking sounds, and then also listen if you can, like, oh, I recognize that word. So are there any questions before we hit play? Okay. Here we go.
Saxman, Alaska, February 15, 1966. This tape is being prepared especially for the Alaska Native Brotherhood's Grand Camp. We do not have many people that can tell the history of our people from Yaqwan, but I have here my mother, Bessie Denny, my father's name Henry Denny, and I was called Henry Denny Jr., I'm now known as Henry Denny. But however, we begin with our story from way back, as far back as we could remember, because these stories are not written like a white man's story. It's passed on from generation to generation. Now in our old times of our forefathers, they have times to tell stories. Certain time of the year, though they tell stories, but the time to tell stories is in February. The Indian call it Tóoch, Dísi. That's February. You cannot do much outside. You cannot work much outside. So this is the time of the year they have talked so much about the history. Now this is the time the chief of the clan, each clan, tell their own stories. Now, it has been a custom of our people that Neich-Adi, they tell their own stories, their own histories, they tell it to their children. So it's Tóoch, the uncle or the great-grandfathers or the grandfathers, they tell to their children, not their children, but their nephews, the stories of Tóoch. And the Kayaaní, they had told their stories to their nephews and nieces, so they'll know their own side. It has been the custom of our people that it is not like a white man. A white man, his son takes over his wealth, and the history of his father goes to the son, to the firstborn. But the Indian way, our custom, from way back, the lineage goes onto the mother's side. A mother is an eagle, the boy and the daughter of that woman becomes an eagle. And so is on the opposite plan, where the grizzly bear, their nephews and nieces, they tell us stories to them. So it's known on the mother's side always. So is with Kayaaní and so on and so forth. Now, this far I will go. I know a lot of these stories that Mom is about to tell, but I would rather that you hear from her. Talk a little bit, and I'll interpret to the best that I can interpret the Tlingit language and translate.
How? This aya haji said on the yash katnik, yayaki, ayakaktunik, shukanach, ayakaudonik, yad eukanu, at akatkatikuch, kaye, akakudua u nu, khasau, sikh.
It is so said that this is the way the story stands for us today. Now, the beginning time that Martha Buckety Quadra calls Askutuan, which is known as Bullhead Bay now. And behind it, there's a mountain.
How? Aya kutin yat sana kwan ne khati aya tin yat eukanu chukwanach.
This is the place where Sanakwan, this is the people that had lived there beginning. The name of the place, Eukanu. Nu is a thing the Indians call Nu, is a fort. A fort that's sitting on sand.
Takayatu. Yakati ninat what now got itu. Ak an khusti. Akoyeu dosa askutuan.
And then, when they had moved a little ways from there, they come to a place, a salmon stream. And this one they call Askutuan, a city under big trees.
Ya an khasau sikhi Askutuan. Takhayata. Ashakun awachun yukha. How? Hu chaya. Kuwatai. Akakunakchi. Yatuchune. Shukanakaya. Akaku dwashi. Ayu baby was out sachanit ayak kichan yuki. Ata. You could. Ayu sich. How?
At this time, well, they were in this Askutuan. That's the time this old man dreamed a dream about a bay. And he told them it smelled like a child. And they went look for that bay.
Dakawatu yaku. Yo, doha. Akawa. Akakyo doha. X'éig.
And from there on, they took him again to another place that he saw in his dream. When he got there, they found the place. They called it X'éig.
Ato ne khati ne khuti ato X'éig. Atayu yai tate dosak X'éig yu aya dosak ne khati hini. Qat ayu akhya ayu akhtu qanni jin akhayu ne khati ikhuti.
This stream had been known as the Sakai stream, and the Nechati had possessed the place from way back, even to the time the story came to.
Ya akhanqi ato Nechati aya khena yu dosak.
The bay next to it, a little ways from X'éig, we call it Rudyard Bay now.
Takhawe tu yau Tóoch. Aya akhanu aki tu. Ako ake nacht. Yu dosa.
And then they took him from there again, and then took him to the next bay, a little ways from there again, going north. They call this one Kayaaní, which is known as Walker's Cove now.
Takhawe tu yau Tóoch. We ka tu chuni ka kaya. Ya kunako.
And from there they took him again. They are exploring the country according to this man's dream.
Khis yu dosa ateu Tóoch tu. Tu te kweti ni ayu atu.
And then they took him again from there a little ways. They call that place Lichéesh. It's the name of that place is Sycamore River now.
Dakhayu awat yatcha akakaku doshi. Da suyu khis ten anakhanao.
And when they brought him to this river, the mouth of this river, they have seen a great big hunks of foam that's coming out of the river.
Dakhayat akhu kayau Tóoch. Ya awachu niye. Askusa awachu daya asak o au akhaya yau Tóoch utayat chunach.
From there they took him again. They took him only to the places that according to his dream, that he had dreamed, the shoreline and the places, and they took him clear up to Unuk.
Ayakau ayu tesku.
Any comments or questions about the history we just heard from Bessie Denny?
You know, I wished I had a map at the time, a chart, so I could see where they were.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's look at one. So we'll start by looking at the slide with the delineation of Sanya-Kwan dialect. So here we're looking at Southeast Alaska. You can see kind of in the background, there's Douglas, Juneau area in the upper right, Admiralty Island, Hutsnuwu, Kiikwan, Shitka, Angun. They're all up here. And then farther south, you have Prince of Wales Island, where you have Tóoch and X'éig. So this would be Heinyaquan. And then farther down, Kasan is also on Prince of Wales Island, but it's all the way across on the southeastern side. And then Sanya-Kwan would extend along the Bem Canal between Saxman and Cape Fox. And so they're from Saxman. Is anyone in here related to or familiar with the Denny family? Let me pull up a map of Saxman. So Saxman, Alaska. So here's Saxman, and then Ketchikan. You have Ketchikan, Saxman, and then below that, you farther south from there, you have Annette Island Reserve. This is the only reservation, Indian reservation in Alaska, even though other tribes now have land in trust with the federal government. Annette Island Reserve is Metlakatla is a Indian reservation, and Saxman's right here.
Yeah, so I was trying to catch the river, the names of the rivers,
Oh, that's a good idea.
but I'll go back and listen.
Yeah.
Unik River.
Yeah, Unik, I got that one. That's the only one that I could recognize that I
Yeah,
knew
right.
was.
So let's write down some of the place names we heard. So one of the places they mentioned was canoe, or on the sand. And then us, Gutuan, city under the big trees. What did you guys hear the river name?
The Unik, UNUK.
Oh, oops. Okay, let me put it in here. Sorry, I'm typing silly. Okay. Is this the English name or the anglicized name?
I think so.
I think so too. That's what
It's one that I've heard before, so I think it's probably.
Mhm.
Okay, let me see.
It might be UNIK too.
Okay, cool. I'm going to use a different map. Map of Saxon, Alaska. And let's go here. No, that's the same link. Sorry. Actually, I wonder if they have a different topography layer. I don't see one. Oh, here we go. Layers. And then close this. I'll have to play the recording back and see if I can find. Okay, so for the English spelling, it might be UNIK. And then I heard him describing a few different rivers, the Sockeye Stream, a couple more.
Actually, it is UK.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit play and just listen a little bit while I search for this on the internet.
Akakku, Doshi. Ayut, ayu baby was out sachan ayak kichan yuki ata you could ayu sich how.
At this time, well, they were in this Skutuan. That's the time this old man dreamed a dream about a bay. And he told them it smelled like a child. And they went look for that bay.
Dakawatu yaku yo doha. Akawa akakyo doha. Shakes.
And from there on, they took him again to another place that he saw in his dream. When he got there, they found the place. They called it X'éig.
Ato ne khati ne khuti ato Shakes. Atayu yai tate dosak Shakes you ayatosak ne khati hini qas ayu akhya ayu akhtu qanni jin akhayu ne khati ikhuti.
This stream had been known as the Sakai stream, and the Nechati had possessed the place from way back, even to the time the story came to.
Ya akhanqi atude khati aya khena yutosak.
The bay next to it, a little ways from X'éig, they call it Rudyard Bay now.
Takhawe tu yaw doha. Aya akhanu aki tu. Ako ake nacht. Yutosa.
And then they took him from there again, and then took him to the next bay, a little ways from there again, going north. They call this one Kayaaní, which is known as Walker's Cove now.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. Listening to it a second time, I heard some more place names, but I need to do a little more research and check the spelling before I teach these to you as the actual place names, because I'm just not familiar enough. But some of the things I heard them pronounce or describing a place called X'éig. It might be no IY there, but yeah. So I just wanted to close this study of this recording by saying Lichéesh to the Sanya Kwan. This history belongs to the Sanya Kwan, and we get to study it because they agreed to be recorded so that we can hear their voices and learn the history, but also just being respectful that this history belongs to the Neich Adi, the Tequedi, and the what's the other clan? Kix Adi. So Lichéesh, any more comments or questions about what we learned about Southern dialect or anything else on your mind?
I just enjoyed listening to it.
Awesome. Okay. Did folks start to feel like they could be able to hear falling tones in Bessie's speech? It comes with time too. I listen to a lot of inland speakers, and a lot of northern coastal speakers. And so when I hear Bessie Denny talking, I really hear the rising and falling tones, and it sounds so awesome. I love the way it sounds. Okay, so before we go, I wanted to talk about our next classes together. So our last class is Friday, May 26th, and today's April 28th. So we have 4 more classes after today, and they're gonna fly by. I don't know about you guys, but when spring comes, I'm always like, whoa, okay, bam, it's summer. But some of the topics we haven't covered yet that are folks' interested in this class are plants. And then we'll also make time if folks are working on personal projects. I can meet with you outside of class to help you practice or review your work with you. We can set up a time if you want to present it to the class. I'll make space for you to do that. It's not required. It's just something if you would like to, then I'll make it happen for you. So we'll continue with conversation practice is another topic, video transcription and translation. And then as far as plants go, what types of things are folks hoping to be able to learn how to say, read, understand? What are some of your more specific topics around plants?
Since I'm just such a beginner, I'm trying to just use descriptors like the fireweed is tall, the huckleberries are red. So I'm just trying to find some of those words and make it really simple.
Okay, that's perfect.
And a few plant anatomy words, the root, the stem, the leaf, the flower.
Okay, awesome. Any others?
Well, and it probably goes without saying with this group, but just more interest in the native plants versus imported plants.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it probably goes along with, the descriptors, but more also what you do with plants, the different, even just to say I harvest or I make this kind of thing. So being able to get some verbs in there.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. When it comes to verbs, are folks wanting to be able to say what they do? Like, I do this regularly, or are there other parameters you want to use? Like if you want to be able to tell somebody, walk in the woods, look for, things like that.
I would.
Okay. We'll probably set up a couple verbs and we can practice saying them in the first person that I did it. And then we'll also practice telling somebody do it. Any other interests around plants? So far we have a pretty good group of topics, describing them, talking about the different anatomy parts of plants, focusing on indigenous plants, what you do with plants. And then it's April. Okay, so since it's April, probably the Dzéiwsh are starting to bud. We could talk about the month name. Since this month of April is called Kayaaní, Dísi, I'm struggling with English so hard today. The month of true plant budding. We can talk about which plants are normally bud in April. Seems later this year since we had all that cold weather, but okay, anything else? Not just in plants, but in terms of other topics for future classes. Are there any other things you want to share today about your personal interests and goals?
Well, my question was just about future classes, not necessarily topics,
Yeah,
but can we look forward to future class? Because I feel like, I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like this class has been really helpful for me. And I would just like to continue on this really strong foundation that I feel that I'm getting right now.
awesome.
And so just hope that there's going to be future classes.
Yeah,
And I understand wanting summers off. We have to do our food, putting up our food, but
yeah,
hoping there's some more to look forward to.
awesome. So maybe a short break and then see if we can continue. Ati and I can talk about our options for continuing to support a community class together. I know there will be opportunities, so whether it's through Tóoch Lichéesh or if I email her opportunities and she shares it out to the class list, I'll make sure that we do that. What are some of your all's summer plans? What do your month of June look like for you all? For me, I feel like a lot of my classes were set up to end June 1st. So I'm looking at one more month of teaching and then probably taking 3 weeks off. And I know that Shirley wants to continue at the end of June. So we'll probably be teaching and starting in the last week of June for a summer class through Tlingit and Haida. So I'll make sure to email the link once we get it figured out to Ati so she could share it with you.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. Fun. Yeah, we've covered a lot so far. We're through the second chapter of Beginning Tlingit Workbook, talking about Tanta Kwan and Sanya Kwan dialect variation. We'll do plants. Anything else you guys want to talk about, you can shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat. Oh, I see a comment in the chat. June would still be good. Awesome. Okay, so I'll put my email in the chat.
I have something to say. I was talking to my sister-in-law.
Uh-huh.
She's from DC, and she kept saying one word that you say a lot.
Uh-huh.
We do have something in common.
Yeah. Your mic is fuzzy, so I can hear you, but I can barely hear you. But I think I heard you ask about something you hear a lot, and it's the word ah. Is that right?
In Nishka, she is a BC native.
Uh-huh.
And she's gone back home to where she's from. And I guess she's speaking her language a lot more rather than English. So when she was talking to me yesterday, she kept saying that.
Uh-huh.
I said, hey, that's neat.
What did she keep saying?
Just like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that means yes in Tlingit. And it might.
And I think that's what she meant too, just the way the conversation was going.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I never asked her though. We were talking about something serious. So.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. So is she? Yeah. Okay, she's from BC.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool, the similarity.
Well, I guess we all traveled along that route there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's even a lot of borrowed words between my grandmother's first language from the interior of Alaska to Tlingit.
And if there's a summer class, I'm all in. I mean, I know we do our food putting up, but there's always time for a Tlingit class.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It'll be fun. Yeah, we'll take a short
And
break.
actually, I have a great idea for an immersion class in that I have a large raspberry patch that I often need help with.
Oh,
And so if people want to come and help play in the raspberry patch as we speak Tlingit, that would be wonderful.
yum. We should do, okay, then we should do words around picking berries. For immersion. Go ahead.
And I was going to say for summer class, just all the parts of putting up fish, you know, the sockeye, your king salmon, your strips, your drying, your jarring. I mean,
Yeah.
everything, the greens, berries, so much. That'd be really cool to learn all that, all those words. That'd be very conversational.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
One thing we could do is work on putting those words together as a class when we meet on our next few classes. In native language revitalization, they call it domain reclamation. And it can also be called task-based learning. But basically what you're doing is taking a domain, like for example, picking berries, and working ahead of time to find all the different phrases and language you might use during that time. And then you practice them, and then you go do the activity together and just do your best to use only what you know in the language to converse with each other. And it does take time and preparation ahead of time so that you can set yourself up for success to be able to do it. That might be a
Love
fun.
that.
Okay, yeah, that might be a fun thing we can do together. So domain reclamation we could do picking berries and then also putting up fish.
There's also seaweeds,
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
all the beach greens and stuff.
Okay. Seaweed. Water plants. Fun. Okay, I'll look forward to that then. I'll put some stuff together to get started. And we're at time at Cowdechit. So Gunnachish Johan, Gunnachish Yejene, Tóoch Lichéesh. Thank you for your work. I feel proud of you. Have a good rest of your Friday and a good weekend. And I'll see you next week. Dzéiwsh James.
Yay, Quasatin.
Yes,
Gunnachish.
Gunnachish.
Okay.